All right, while people trickle in, I think I'll just go ahead and get started. So welcome everybody to this session. You're all here today because you are here to learn how to choose the right graduate school and learn some of the intricacies involved about graduate studies and applying for graduate schools. And before I hand the webinar off to our representative, Ms. Anam Iqbal from the Lyle School of Engineering. Let me just quickly take a minute to introduce Education USA and USCFP, and then I'll hand it right over. Um, Today's session is for everyone interested in learning about how to apply to graduate schools. Before we start, a little bit about who we are. Education USA is a global network of state under the Department of State, made up of over 425 international student advising centers in more than 175 countries. We are your official source to US higher education. Advisors work with advisees to provide updated, comprehensive, and unbiased information on higher education in the US. In Pakistan, we are part of the USCFP, that's the United States Educational Foundation in Pakistan, which also houses the Fulbright Commission in the country. USCFP promotes mutual understanding between the people of Pakistan and the people of the United States through educational and cultural exchange. We have offices in Islamabad, Lahore, and Karachi, but we're available to any student that needs help or advising throughout Pakistan virtually as well. With that, I'd like to thank Anam for taking the time out for being with us today. I hope the audience members will also appreciate that she had to get up at 6 a.m. For this webinar. And we again really appreciate it and are apologetic about it at the same time. But thank you very much, Anam, for being with us today. Anam is going to speak on the intricacies involved around graduate studies and graduate admissions. And we will have a Q&A session at the end. So normally we don't unmute participants during this webinar. But if you have any questions, there's a Q&A box. You can list your questions in the Q&A box and we'll get to them at the end of this webinar. And with that, I'll hand it over to you, Anam. Thank you once again for being with us today.
Very happy to be here. Yes, it is very early in Dallas, Texas, but I would do anything for the Education USA Pakistan team. They always take good care of me whenever I come visit. So I'm going to share my screen now. And this presentation, yeah, I have a few slides. I have some things that I'm going to say from these slides, but I really am looking forward to the Q&A part of this. I want to make sure that I answer your questions, um, throughout my presentation. Okay. Okay. I think you guys can see my screen now. So this presentation is how to choose the right graduate school. There's a few things that I've noticed my international students that I work with, they don't always realize like these types of things, even though they seem small, they are very, very important. So I'm going to talk about just general information, and then I will, after I talk about the general stuff, I will talk specifically about SMU, Lyle School of Engineering, and how, as my example. So my name is Anam Iqbal. I am the Senior Associate Director of Recruitment for the School of Engineering. I have been at SMU a little bit over 2 years, but I've worked in college admissions for about 12 years. So if you guys have any questions at the end, feel free to ask them. I've heard everything. So nothing you will ask me is like new to me or anything like that. So first question that I always make sure to answer is, why does graduate school matter? Why would you spend extra money to get a higher degree? And I have a couple of answers to that. One, it demonstrates a higher level of expertise. Master's degrees in STEM fields are growing at a rapid rate, more than the ones in the at the bachelor's level. This shows employers and other people around that you have a specialized skill set. There's higher salary potential, and graduate degrees often lead to leadership and management roles. I know for my role, even though I'm not an engineer, my role required a master's degree. If people applied for this job and did not even have a master's degree, they were not considered at all for this role. So those are just a couple of things of why graduate school, like why does it matter? When you're looking for graduate schools, the location of the school matters as well. Are you looking for an urban campus in the middle of the city? Are you looking for more of a rural campus where the school is the city? And reason being is depending on what you want to study, you need to know the proximity to industry partners. For example, when I worked at another institution, I used to get asked questions all the time for students interested in like marine biology. The school that I was working in was landlocked. Like there was no bodies of water around me. So no, we did not have that program. And honestly, even if we did, it probably would not have been as hands-on as the student would have liked because we were right in the middle of the city. The weather. I worked with international students all the time that are in similar climates. And so I let them know, okay, it's very similar to what you're dealing with in your home country. But then I also work with students that are living in very cold areas. So I let them know, hey, when you get here, when you get to Dallas, it is very hot. And students don't realize that the weather that they grew up with is might be very different than the schools that they are looking at. And you do have to be prepared for that. You do have to have extra clothes for that if needed. Um, Cost of living. Cost of living in the United States varies as to where in the United States you are. And so some cities are more expensive than other cities. So when you're looking at a university, when you're looking at your like I-20 costs, take into consideration the cost of living as well. Now, SMU is located in Dallas, Texas, and with being an engineering school, this is a prime location for us. We are a significant tech hub, and we are attracting companies and startups all over the technology sector. We have very good relations with Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and other tech companies, and our students are able to go to class and then also intern and work at these companies because they are maybe 15, 20 minutes away from campus. The students don't have to go anywhere else to get that work experience because it is in the city. This picture right here is of our campus, and that is downtown Dallas in the background. So we are very, very close. The cost of living in Dallas is also a relatively lower cost of living. We also have public transportation as well. So when I work with my international students, they always ask me like, hey, do I have to get a car? How will I get around? And I let them know that we have apartment complexes very close to campus. The city bus and the campus bus will go everywhere. So you do not need a vehicle to come to school here. Campus life, big schools versus medium schools versus small schools, that plays a part, especially at the graduate level. If you are in a grad program that has hundreds and hundreds of students, your class size is still going to be relatively bigger than one that is like a smaller school. International student support. What resources are there for international students? So if you're looking at a school, ask them, what is their international student support services look like? Is it academic advising? Is it getting them acclimated to like Texas? Clubs and campus support. What is there to do on campus? In a perfect world, you'll always just go to the class, you'll always go to the library, and then you'll always go home. But actuality, you are going to be a member of the city that you're in, and you're going to be a member of the campus that you're in. So you want to make sure you are enjoying your time there. SMU, we are a private institution. Our total population of everyone is about 12,000 students. The School of Engineering is over 50% international students. So we do have a very high international population, and we do have an international student scholars office as well at SMU. So some of the things that they do at the beginning of the year, there is an international student orientation. Yes, there's some business things that you'll do there. Make sure all your documents are turned in. Make sure you have all the paperwork that you need for your I-20. Make sure you follow all the governmental rules. But then they also do like cultural things as well. So they will host events catered towards different demographics of students, and everyone can participate. So we had a big Eid celebration not too long ago. We have student organizations. We have a Muslim student organization that hosts Jummah prayers every single Friday. There's very active campus life, and there's also a lot of support for international students on our school, especially in the School of Engineering. Another thing to consider, and no one likes to talk about it, is the tuition and fees of a school, and then the scholarships that they offer for graduate international students in particular. Uh, when you convert Pakistani rupees to American dollars, it can be very intimidating when you're doing the conversion. So look into how much a school is and then what scholarships that they offer. Some universities in Texas, for example, especially public schools, if a student gets a certain amount of money in scholarships, then they qualify for in-state tuition as well. So look into what scholarships are available, what benefits are available as well. Now, SMU is a private school, so cost for domestic students and international students is exactly the same. There is no in-state, there is no out-of-state. All the cost is exactly the same. The average cost for a master's at SMU, the full 2-year program, is about 48 to 50,000 US dollars for the full program. And that seems like a lot. But when you compare us to the other public schools in the area, we're very comparable. Like they're also in the 40 to 50,000 range for the full 2-year program. Now, SMU master scholarships are very limited. We really don't have a lot for scholarships at the master's level. Most of the students that come here are self-funded, or they will work on campus. You can apply for jobs as soon as you're admitted. You can start applying for jobs, but TA positions, graduate assistant positions, research assistant positions, I tell students to apply for that after your first semester, because at that point your professors have gotten to know you, and then they will be able to recommend scholarships for you as well. Now, our PhD programs are fully funded. That some schools in the US do not have fully funded PhD programs, but our programs are. So they will not admit you unless they can fund you. So those are very, very competitive PhD programs that we offer in the School of Engineering. So when you figured out the cities that you want to live in, you figured out the type of campus that you want to be at. So now you need to find the applications and deadlines. Now, some schools, as soon as your file is considered complete, they will admit you. Some schools they let everyone know at one time. You'll find out on the same day, even if you apply the first day the application opens, or the last day the application is closed, like the very last day before it closes, they're going to let you know at once. Um, and then there's also priority deadlines where you have to have everything submitted by this date in order to be considered. Admission requirements is another thing. Every school has very different admission requirements, and that means the GPA that they are looking at, that means how they review a file, that means what are the required documents. Every school is very different. When I work with international students, I realize that they're looking at multiple schools, obviously, all over the US. I had a student recently that he had 20 schools on his list that he was applying to. And I was like, this is a very intensive list. And he was like, what other schools can I add? And I was like, honestly, I would narrow this list down. All these schools are very different. Some were extremely competitive than others. And then some were in major cities like SMU, and some of them were in much, much smaller cities. So I was like, I would narrow this down to maybe even 10 to figure out which schools you are actually interested in applying to and attending. Step two, gather the application materials, whether that's application fees, official transcripts, letters of recommendation, personal statement, resume, standardized tests like GRE or GMAT, and then English language proficiency requirements. All of these things will vary by school. So start gathering them like before you even submit the application. Figure out what you need so that way you have it ready to go for whenever you submit the app. And then submit the application materials. Make sure to follow the submission requirements. So, for example, with the English language proficiency test, we don't accept unofficial score reports. The score reports have to be sent directly from the testing agency. So if you took the TOEFL or Duolingo or whatever, we need them directly from the agency. And students will sometimes just upload their score report and we don't count it as official. So their file stays incomplete until we get those official score reports. So make sure to follow the submission requirements. If we need official documents, you have to send the official documents. You can't just upload a copy. Now, SMU in particular for the master's program, it's pretty easy to apply. We have our application on our website, and then the fall 2026 application is opening up in August. That means it opens up a year ahead. With us, the application materials for the master's program, we do require a $75 application fee. There's no way to really waive this fee. You have to submit it. For the PhD programs, we do not have an application fee. We waive it for you. We waive it at the very end. That means you have to submit all the other required items before we will waive that application fee for PhD programs. Again, for the master's program, it's required. For the PhD program at SMU School of Engineering, it is waived at the end. We do require all official transcripts. They have to be in English and your native language. Now, we do not require a third-party evaluation for the School of Engineering. And that is at the master's or PhD level. The only time it's required is if you have a 3-year degree. If you have a 3-year degree, then yes, we will require the evaluation. Otherwise, we do not. English language proficiency, we and the School of Engineering, we accept the TOEFL, we accept IELTS, we accept Duolingo. We also accept Pearson's. So we accept all the English language proficiency tests, and we have requirements for those as well. That is for GRE, I'm sorry, that is for master's as well as PhD. There's no way for me to waive the English language proficiency requirement. Now, optional items for the master's level is GRE, recommendation letters, personal statement, and resume. All of that is optional. So when we review a file, when I'm looking at a student's file, I look at a holistic review. I look at everything in the student's file. So if your GPA is a little bit low, but you have strong test scores or you have significant work experience, then I take that into consideration as well. It's not just GPA. I look at everything. Now for the PhD level, because it is fully funded and they are very competitive, everything is required. Letters of recommendation, GRE, personal statement, resume, it is all required. We need to look at everything in that student's file because again, it is a fully funded PhD program and those are very competitive. There's no way for me to waive a GRE for a PhD applicant. It's required. And then after you submit all the items, you can track your application status in real time. So you'll know when we have received your English language test scores. You'll know when we receive your GRE. You'll know when a decision gets made. Our application portal updates in real time, and it is an extremely helpful tool for students. Sometimes you'll get automated emails, and if you don't understand them, you can always email us. But for the most part, your portal is the best way for you to track that we have received everything, that a decision's been made, and then you can make the decision to come to SMU or weigh out your options. Common mistakes that I see when students are applying to graduate school, especially international students, they focus solely on the rankings, even if the school is the perfect fit. This is such a detriment to students if they focus solely on rankings. I've gone to Pakistan. I've visited some of you guys at the college fairs, and I remember they come up to me. They don't ask what programs I have. They don't ask what opportunities that I have for them. The first question is, what is your QS ranking? That's the very first thing. And if it's not the answer that they want to hear, they immediately go away. They do not talk to me. They go to another school. They focus on something else. And there's a few students that I have worked with that I'm like, you realize this would be the perfect school for you. You're able to be admitted, you're able to afford to come, but you are so focused on the rankings that you miss out on the opportunity. We are a SMU is a Carnegie R1 research institution. So you will get that research experience that you are looking for that makes you extremely competitive applicant for jobs. But they don't see that because our ranking, while is in the top 100 and it's not like in the top 10. So focus solely on rankings is going to be probably the biggest pitfall that I see for students. They get so hung up on, I want to only go to schools in the top 10, and they really limit themselves. Students are not preparing for tests. The English language proficiency is required. Again, it is not something that I can waive. And there's students that I've spoken with in English, and I can see that, they probably have a good comprehension of English. They probably have good written skills, but they don't prepare for the test. GRE for the PhD programs, students are not preparing for that. So they do horribly on the test. And yes, again, we take all of this into consideration when we make a decision on a student's file, but that doesn't mean just completely blow off the GRE. You do have to prepare for that. Students wait till the last minute to apply. With our PhD programs in particular, since they are so competitive, if you wait until the last minute to apply, um, the professors, the department chairs, they're not waiting until the last minute to admit you. They admit throughout the year. So even if you are the prime candidate, everything they are looking for, they might not have space for you because you waited until the last minute and the other student applied very, very early. And then not researching program offerings. We are an engineering school. We have some very strong programs here, but I get asked questions all the time from students that, hey, I applied, I submitted my application, I selected computer science, but I was really looking for something else. Do you have it? And sometimes we don't have that program. And I'm like, no, computer science is the closest thing to what you're wanting to do. We don't have the program exactly that you're looking for. And then they never complete the application because it's like, no, I wanted this. Well, then why did you apply? Why didn't you do your research ahead of time? I also work with students that have come up to me and said, I want to apply to your school, but you don't have my program. And then I asked them, what is their program? And we do have it. We just call it something else. So that's also out of my top 4 common mistakes. That's the next one. Not researching what the school offers. We probably have what you're looking for at SMU. I can help you figure that out. Or the complete opposite. We don't have what you're looking for at SMU. Nothing is comparable to that. But you go ahead and apply because you just wanted to and you didn't do the research beforehand. So those are probably the most common mistakes that I've seen. And then that is, like I said, I didn't have many slides. I really wanted to open this up more to discussion with everyone. But in case you have questions that come up later, the Education USA team knows how to reach me. You can also send me an email directly, and it is listed on the screen. And okay, I can't see you guys, so I'm gonna stop sharing so now I can, see the questions or anything like that.
All right, everyone, you can
Oh,
use the Q&A box to ask your questions. We have the next half hour approximately to ask questions. If there's no questions, we can end a little bit early, but I encourage you to use this time to ask questions while we have the rep with us. Can you see the Q&A box, Anam?
yes. Okay. So, first question from Terim was, what's in-state admissions? Public schools, they might have a tuition rate that is for in-state students, students that live in the state of the school. And so that tuition rate might be different than uh, the rate that international students pay. The Education USA team would be able to talk to you in detail about that one. My email address, yes, I will type it in the chat as well. I want to do an MS in management. Could I have scholarship for it? So I'm with the School of Engineering. The School of SMU does have a School of Business, and they do have business management in that program. The scholarship criteria for the School of Business is very different than mine. So I am, you can email me and I can connect you to the School of Business and they can talk to you about those programs. Now, with the School of Engineering, we do have engineering management. At the MS level, scholarships are extremely limited. We really do not have any scholarships for master's level students. Most of the scholarships are reserved for the PhD students. How much is research valued for a PhD program? Strongly. It is strongly valued in the PhD program. When you are submitting your application for a PhD and we look at your resume, we're going to look at what current research experience that you have. If you don't have any, but you are interested in doing some research with our professors, then we look at that as well. We prefer you to have some research experience prior to applying to PhD, but it's not the only thing that we look at. The fully funded includes accommodation and airfare. No, it does not. It would cover, that is a very good question. It covers your tuition and fees, and PhD programs do include a stipend that you can put towards your accommodation, but uh it doesn't cover your airfare at all. The accommodation, there's several apartment complexes close to campus that are reasonably cost, like at a reasonable cost. So students are usually okay when it comes to the stipend covering their like rent and things like that. The fully funded only covers your tuition and fees, and then the stipend. Oh, good question. How much is SMU stipend for PhD electrical engineering? It depends. It's a range. I've seen about 1,600 a month all the way to like 2,600 a month. So it just depends. It depends how competitive an applicant pool you are, or the applicant pool is for that year. Is there a way to skip GRE for PhD if a student show you a letter of English proficiency of his or her university? GRE is an entrance exam. English proficiency is something different. So for SMU, no, you cannot skip the GRE for PhD. It is required. And then English language proficiency, we do not accept letters of mode of instruction letters. You have to take one of the tests. Duolingo is the cheapest one that we have, but we do accept IELTS, TOEFL, or Duolingo. So GRE is one requirement. English language proficiency is another requirement. Other schools might be different. Some schools don't require the GRE at all. And then some schools don't have, some schools do accept letters of English proficiency. SMU School of Engineering, we don't accept those. You definitely need to take one of the tests. Oh, that's a good question. As of right now, we have not seen this being an issue. So the question is, the US government is cutting research funding. Is this an issue being faced for SMU PhD engineering programs? As of right now, no, we have not had to experience this. I think it also has to do with the fact that we are a private school, um, but we have not seen research funding getting cut at this time. Any more questions? This can get very awkward just staring at my face. Yes, we do offer PhD programs in computer science. Mhm. The GRE is required for that. Letters of recommendation are required. English language proficiency is required. TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo. We do not have a preference, but one of those tests is required. Resume, statement of purpose, all required for that PhD program. Yes. Okay, so Lockheed Martin is a big one. Raytheon is another. Oh, the question is, can you name a few major industries in Dallas area where electrical engineering graduates find jobs? So Lockheed Martin is a big one. Raytheon is another big one for us. Texas Instruments, as well as Microsoft. Those are probably the ones that I can think of just quickly. The Dallas area is a tech hub, so there is a lot of opportunities for you. The question, oh, this is a very good question. What's the best way to find grad programs, like if they match my subject? Emailing representatives, can you suggest other ways? Yes, excellent, excellent question. Emailing representatives is a very good idea. We'll be able to walk you through the whole process, help you figure out the program. The next thing that I recommend is keeping in contact with the Education USA office. They know all of us. I know my school very well. They know my school. They know other schools. So they would be able to help you figure out which schools might match your interests. And then I also recommend, so aside from them, I also recommend you, they usually have like, uh, like websites that you can go to and like type in your interests there, and they can help you figure out schools. When you go like on the GRE website, they also have links on there that help you figure out like what schools match your interests as well. But aside from emailing representatives, I my next biggest recommendation is keeping in touch with the Education USA office. Does SMU have rolling admissions or is there a hard deadline for fall 2026? For the grad programs, we have rolling admissions. The application will open up in August. It usually opens up August 15th for fall 2026. It opens around that time, August 14th, August 15th, right in the middle of August, and it'll be a rolling admissions. So the faster you can complete your full application file, turning in all the required items, the faster we make a decision. PhD programs do take longer to make a decision. It can take a few months, and that is because they are reviewing everything in detail. And again, those programs are extremely competitive. But the master's program, it can take 2 to 3 weeks from the day the file is considered complete to make a decision.
Just to break the silence, some of the students, they often, I mean, this is what I come across when sometimes students send us statement of purposes to review and whatnot. And during that process, I can very easily pick up when a student has used an AI writing software to write their statement of purpose and essay. And I'm of the opinion that they should avoid. That's what we're generally instructing our students. You know, have your authentic voice. Could you, before we get back to the students' questions, I know this might be a question that students have in mind, but they're a little bit nervous to ask. Could you comment on the use of AI softwares in helping you craft your statement of purpose?
We can tell when it is a copy paste statement of purpose. There are some key things that ChatGPT says that I can tell immediately, like, okay, this is not the student's voice. It's one thing to use it to make an outline of, okay, ChatGPT is telling me to use an example of my research, and then you insert the research example there. That's different than ChatGPT says, my name is Anam Iqbal. I'm applying to be an engineer. My research is X, Y, and Z. I can tell very, very quickly. We I do not advise you to use Chat GPT for your statement of purpose. It's obvious when you do that. I want to get to know you. I want to get to know you making decision when I look at your file, I want to know, okay, what is about this student that they'll come to SMU and they will be a good member of the School of Engineering, the campus, and then the city of Dallas. That is what I'm looking for. I don't want a bunch of people that are exactly the same. I want to get students that have varied interests, that have, varied research. I want to get to know you, the student, not Chat GPT. Oh, okay. I have a question. Can you please tell us if GRE is mandatory for MS level or optional? For SMU School of Engineering, GRE is optional for the master's and it is required for the PhD. Next question, what GRE score do I need for fully funded PhD? There is no minimum score. We review holistically, so we look at the whole file, and all the PhD programs in the School of Engineering are fully funded. So if you get into the program, you get the funding. Oh, and then the next question is, do you have spring 2026 admissions for PhD? Yes, we do, but most PhD students start in the fall semester. For PhD applicants, is it better to apply directly or contact professors first and get their recommendation before applying? Also, do you grant PhD admissions or is it professors who do that? Okay. So with the School of Engineering, you can apply directly. The letters of recommendation that we require are from like your current professors or your current employers or people that you have worked with in the past. Some schools will require you to reach out to the department and get a supervisor before you apply. We do not require that. You can apply directly and then the department will review to see like, okay, yes, we want to admit the student and fund the student. Uh, the professors make the ultimate decision on the PhD applicants and what the stipend is. I just make sure for the PhD side, I make sure you have everything turned in, there's nothing pending. And if the professors need to contact you, I make sure that they have all your contact information. Next question is, I did MBA, want to do PhD related to business administration. We do have a school of business. If you email me or you talk to the Education USA advisors, that I can connect you to the School of Business. What is it? Oh, okay, that's a very good question. What is a good aggregate for a smooth admission if a student doesn't have good academic history? So with the master's level, everything that is optional, I recommend to turn in as many of those things as you can. So if you look at the required items for the MS programs at the School of Engineering, we look at your grades, and then we look at like your English language proficiency, and that's it. If your grades are not good, or you're nervous about them, then submit letters of recommendation, then submit a personal statement, submit your resume. It will let me get to know you aside from just your grades, and then I can get the whole picture. Okay, his grades were bad this semester because he was working full time. Oh, his grades dropped a little bit this semester because he, had this going on. So that is what I would recommend. The biggest thing that I would recommend, if your academic history isn't the best, submit the optional items so that way your file can be viewed at in a more complete level. That's that awkward silence. I know people are typing questions.
I think we may be out of questions. If anyone is typing, now would be the right time to hit send. All right, I think that's a wrap. It's all right. Just 15 minutes left anyways. Oh, wait, we got one last strangler coming in.
Oh, okay, okay. Do you know how much is health insurance with the family, spouse, one kid? Oh, I do not have that memorized, but please email me and I can get you connected to the appropriate office. I don't have that memorized.
As for this question, the recording of this session, if you give us till a week, this will go on our YouTube page. So if anyone's interested in the recording of this session, it will be available on the Education USA Pakistan YouTube page. All right, so just go on YouTube, type Education USA Pakistan. This session, along with all our previous recorded sessions, are present over there.
I want to do master's in data science. My background is business administration. Am I eligible? I can't answer that without reviewing your full file. So I can't answer that right now. I still encourage you to go ahead and apply. If your grades are good and you have, strong letters of recommendation, which I highly recommend you submit, and they admit you, they may make you take a few like math and engineering courses in particular, just because you probably have not taken them for your business administration background. But again, I can't say yes, you're eligible, no, you're not eligible without reviewing your whole application file.
All right, now for real, going once. Any last questions coming in before we end the session? And going twice. And I think that's pretty much it. I think most of the questions got answered anyway. We don't need to prolong this unnecessarily. So Anam, thank you very much for taking the time out. Again, I cannot apologize enough for the whole 6 a.m. thing, which we put you through. But again, very grateful. Thank you, audience members, for making this Q&A a very lively session. We appreciate it. And your session was particularly very insightful. Thank you again, Anam, for taking the time out to join us. And with that, we're gonna conclude this. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anam, once again, and look forward to further collaborations with you.
Sure, of course, happy to be here. Look forward to helping you guys. Please send me an email.
Perfect. If anyone has any further questions, you can feel free to reach Anam by our email. I'll also be sending Anam the list of participants who answered yes to the question that they want their information to be shared, and hopefully that can encourage further correspondence. And with that, thank you everyone and have a great evening. And good morning to you, Anam.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Take care.